I don't have any regret with it. I had a good long career, and I'm quite happy with it. I came back.
Yeah. It was a good experience for you?
And I went straight back. I was straight into the first side, and the first day back, which was after 6 weeks of being in the UK, I linked up with a guy by the name of Tony Marchant. He was a 19-year-old guy that came out from West Ham. Obviously the connection was with Budgie. Budgie at that time was doing the scouting, and he got the guy and he sent him out to South Africa, and we played together up until the stage where Dave Forsyth became fit again. And then I linked up with Dave Forsyth.
It's quite a formidable centre back pairing, you and Fozzie.
Yeah, look, Dave was a great player, but he was also a great coach while he was on the field.
Yeah.
You know, he was. I learned so much
Controlled.
from him. Yeah.
Everything.
I learned so much from him.
Brummie, I want to ask you a little bit more about the federation. I know you only played there for one season.
One season, yes.
But some names from there, like in the federation, Paul Bishop.
Good player.
Pat Blair.
Verulam Suburbs, and Pat Blair was at Berea.
Burry Martin.
Burry Martin was the keeper for them, yeah.
Dina Naidu.
Dina came to Durban City the year before, so that would have been in '77, and he played in our squad for a short while.
I remember that.
But also a good player.
And Sharky Adams.
Sharky, what a competitor.
Good players, very good players.
Good players, all good boys.
All the players in the federation, was it generally good? Was it a good standard?
Standard was good. Standard was very good. Bearing in mind that we had such a good side that we used to often boast about we didn't need a goalkeeper, and we had the great Bruce Robler there.
Yes.
Yeah,
that was in '78.
That's correct.
But he didn't stay the whole season, did he?
No.
What was he like? Could you tell at that point that he might go far? Was it?
He came to us the year before from Rhodesia, and Harry Weir used to consider me as being such a good athlete, aside of being a soccer player.
Yeah.
Whenever you had long runs to do at training and things like that, he would say, "That's a guy that you got to try and beat." And Bruce Robler came down, and Harry introduced Bruce to me to say, "Listen, you guys are pretty much around about the same age group. Can you take him under your wing, to get him settled into Durban City?" And I'll never forget that first night that he arrived. We were having an athletics night, and Budgie used to divide the whole squad of players into four squads. And we used to actually have athletics nights where you'd have 100 meters where you accumulated points for your team, 200 meters, and 400 meters, and 800 meters. And of course, I used to be known as the 800 meter specialist and the 400 meter specialist. And I couldn't believe it, while I was running the 800 meter, Bruce Krobler was in another team, not in my team. So he was in opposition to me while we were running. And as we were coming down the one side of the field to finish, Bruce Krobler sprinted past me. And me being the athlete I was, I opened my eyes and I said, "Who's this guy?" He was a character of note. And then, like I say, when he was in the side, in that great side in the Federation, one thing that stands out was we were playing against Bluebells in Lenasia. And there was a sellout crowd because of Durban City coming first time to play in Lenasia. And we were playing against Bluebells. And we had such a great squad that Bruce was in goals, and I think he touched the ball about twice in the first half. And those are the days when, of course, you couldn't pass back to the keeper. You could pass back to the keeper.
He could pick it up.
And he could pick it up. And Bruce actually used his hands twice to pick the ball up and to throw it out. But he wasn't content with just throwing it out to the full back. He wanted to show the crowd what he could do. He would bowl the ball to the winger over the halfway line. Anyhow, the crowd, the Indian and coloured support there in Lenasia,
must have been going crazy.
They were going crackers. But then there was this one occasion where the play was up in their goal mouth and there was nothing seriously going on, but yet the crowd were going, wow! Wow! And we're all looking, I was looking ahead of me thinking, what's going on in this game? When I turned to look back, Bruce Krobda was doing monkey crawl along the crossbar.
On the crossbar?
On the crossbar. And letting go on the other side, turning around and going back again. He didn't even worry about the game. He said, no, don't worry, you guys have got it under control. What a character.
Yeah.
What a character.
Yeah.
And then, he, I wouldn't say sadly for us at the time, but he was fortunate. He got a scholarship to go and play baseball. In the States.
Oh, okay.
And when he was in the States, where he was obviously trying to combine playing baseball and playing soccer. There was I'm not sure, I can't recall who it was, but there was it was Liverpool, that's right. Liverpool were touring, and Bruce was playing in goals for the team that they were playing against. And of course Liverpool he said, yo, how's this youngster? Yo. So when he finished the baseball season, that's how he got from there to the UK.
Okay.
And they loaned him out.
So they were out here in South Africa?
No, in the US.
Oh, they were, of course,
in the US.
Yes.
In the US.
And they saw him there?
They saw him there.
Okay.
So he moved from there, after this 1 year of baseball, he moved from there to the UK. I'm trying to think offhand who they loaned him out to, one of the lower league sides, so that he could play for the whole year and then get his work permit. And then when he came back, I think it took him about 6 months, and he took over from Ray Clements at Liverpool.
Oh, and he didn't look back after that?
Never.
Brummie, if they had to choose a team from your era to play against the South Africa of today, they call it Bafana Bafana.
Yes.
How would you guys have done? I know it's a very hypothetical question.
I think we would smash them. You could pick 10 different teams from South African football in those days that would smash Bafana Bafana, that they refer to them as currently.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Any one of the teams.
I agree with you. Having grown up in that era and watching you guys play, the standard of football was extremely high.
The standard was high. I played along the lines, I played with a lot of different internationals that came out guesting here. And in passing, a lot of the times the question arose, what is the standard like here? You know, what do you think? And a lot of them used to say, some games lower first division, otherwise top second division in the UK.
Yeah, our clubs would have competed there. Yeah, and so you say you support Liverpool?
I support Liverpool,
okay.
Yes.
Now, tell me, what do you think is different now? Okay, let me put it differently. Do you like VAR or don't you?
No, I don't.
For what reason?
It's caused too many problems. It's caused a lot of controversy. Namely, they changed the rule to say, okay, what we used to refer to in those days as a linesman, the referee's assistant. If and when the referee's assistant is up with play and he spots a marginal offside, he's been instructed to allow the play to carry on, to see whether it might result in a goal. If it results in a goal, then you bring it back and VAR intervenes, and VAR says, no, yeah, the guy was beyond the line, so he's offside, and they change it to an offside.
Yeah.
But hypothetically, what happens if that particular striker goes through and he's tackled by a defender who's now lunging to try and avoid a goal that he didn't even have to because the guy was in an offside position, and two players get injured where it could have been avoided? That to me is wrong. To bring the game back now again and say, okay, now...
What about the actual offside rule? Do you like this offside by toenail?
No.
In the old days, correct me if I'm wrong, but it used to be that there had to be clear daylight.
That's correct.
Between the striker and the defender.
Correct.
Then you get a clear advantage if the guy is ahead of the ball. But now, what advantage do you get if you've got like 2 inches advantage? Your toe is longer than the other player.
No, you've got
what advantage
you've
do you
got
get?
no advantage. There's no advantage at all. But like I say, a lot of the times defenders are instructed, don't hold up for offside, because you never know whether you're going to get the offside or not. And that's something that's crept into the game, and back in our day it wasn't like that.
Yeah. Coming back to you again, Brummie, you ended up coaching.
Yes.
You coached a lot of juniors at Ramblers. Was it mainly Ramblers? Did you coach at high school as well?
I coached at Ramblers while I was still playing for Bushbucks. I was coaching Ramblers under sixes.
Was that your first coaching stint
correct,
as under
yes.
sixes?
Of which my son was playing in that team, my oldest son, and he was 4 years old.
Is that Wes?
Wesley.
Do you mind naming your family, your wife and your children?
Yes. I'm married to a wonderful woman called Brummie de Leur.
Been married for a long time?
Been married for, coming up in December this year, 50 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And 2 boys out of that wedlock. The oldest one, Wesley, is in the UK. He, in August, will be turning 45. He was born in 1979.
And you're going to visit him shortly, aren't
That's
you?
correct, yes. I'm going to go and visit him. And then the youngest one, Warren, he's 41. He was born in 83.
Okay.
And he resides in Canada, in a place called Kincardine, which is 2.5 to 3 hours north of Toronto.
Okay.
Right on the Lake Huron.
Is that anywhere near Neil Roberts?
No.
He stays in Canada, doesn't he? Or
Neil Roberts is
North
in
America.
Yeah, Neil Roberts, I think, is in Edmonton.
Edmonton, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's just on the border. So and then my oldest son Wesley is in the UK. He's living in Malvern. We've got 2 grandkids from him. The oldest one being Nova Scar. She's 13 years old, a girl. And then Blake is a boy, he's 8 years old.
Okay.
And then in Canada, my son Warren and Jennifer, daughter-in-law, they've got a 18-year-old boy Jordan. Then they've got a 13-year-old girl Giselle. And then they've got a later one, they've got a 10-year-old boy Nolan.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the whole family.
And you've been staying in the same house your whole life, basically?
Been staying in the same house my whole life. Just my first 2 years of marriage. Obviously, I moved out and we were renting a flat in Umbilo. And then my dad came one day and said, oh no, he wants to move out the area, etc., etc. And he said to me, are you not perhaps interested in wanting to take over the house? And I said, well, I'd love to, but for me, a young guy buying a house, I made application because I was working for the railways in those days, Transnet. I made application for a housing loan and I was successful. So I actually bought the house from my dad.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, and I've done,
really
done a lot of alterations to it, but been quite happy staying there. And yes, I've coached in the area. I coached Ramblers right up until under 14 level. And then I decided to say, okay, the boys now must go and do their own thing. I had players like Dale Stadinsky, Gareth Ormshaw, my son Wesley De Leur, all could have made it anywhere. So yes, they were good players, Dylan Shepherd. And I decided it's time for them to now show their own true colours without me. I continued working at New Forest High School. I was working there for 18 years as a estate manager. And along with that, I always coached the school first side soccer.
Okay.
Very successful there too. We won quite a few tournaments, and we used to be known as one of the top.
New Forest was one of the top
schools New Forest,
in the country.
That's correct. Other sides, other school sides, I know for a fact used to hate coming to play us.
One of them was Commercial High or George Campbell?
George Campbell, yes.
Okay, were they big rivals in those days?
They were one of the rivals. DHS, Glenwood.
DHS had soccer in those days?
Yes, yeah, they had soccer.
Okay.
And then also later on Westville became quite a big rival.
Okay.
We played quite a few tournaments. We used to play the Kloof tournament, which used to get invitation sides from the Cape and Johannesburg, and all top school sides. And I actually am proud to say that I won the Kloof tournament twice with New Forest.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and nowadays, how do you pass your time?
These days, I still do a little bit of maintenance work, but I'm retired, been retired for a few years. I love getting into my garden, making sure that my garden's neat, weeding here, cutting there. I do all my own garden work, and my wife loves that too, so we have common interests. Other than that, yeah.
Do you grow anything specific? Do you have orchids or anything special?
No, not anything specific, no. We have quite a few different species of plants, which we've collected by slips from visiting this person and that person, etc., etc. And yeah, we pride ourselves on having one of the best gardens in the area.
Brummie, I want to throw a couple of random questions at you now. Why haven't you written a book about your life? Have you thought about it?
Yeah, yes and no. Yeah, it's a good question, Enzo.
You should think about it. You should think about it. Get in touch with somebody and get them to write your book.
Yeah.
I think you should. How many goals did you score? Do you remember?
No, Enzo.
But you scored a few.
I scored
you always
a few.
used to go up for the corners.
One stat I can give you is that I pride myself in being a top penalty taker. Okay. But I do have to tell you this for the viewers, that the first day that I got invited as a trialist at Durban City, I was still playing for Ramblers as a 15-year-old boy. And Durban City under 16s were playing against Johannesburg Rangers. And Johannesburg Rangers brought their under 16 side down to play curtain raiser. So here I was awestruck. I'm being invited to come play on the main. We used to refer to it on the main.
Big dream,
yeah.
Play on the main.
And I played for Durban City on the main, and the score was no score, and we got a penalty. And of course, all the other players said, "Hey, Brummie, you go and take it." And I stepped up, and I'll never forget it. It was on the Indian north side stand.
Yes.
And I ran up and took the kick.
Because in those days the stands were segregated.
Yes, that's correct. They were segregated. And I ran up and I struck this thing as hard as I could. but it took off in a trajectory and it hit the top of the crossbar.
Yeah.
The keeper dived out of the way
Yeah.
for fear of getting hit. It hit the top of the crossbar and it ended up right in the Indian stand.
Is it still going? Probably.
Yeah, if it didn't hit the top of the stand, it would have ended up in Blue Lagoon. But yeah, that was
Probably one of the few that you missed.
it's the only penalty I can ever recall missing.
Okay. It's unusual for a centre half to be the penalty taker in the team.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you take them for Durban City too?
Not in the no.
Did you ever play with Lawrence Chellan
I played with Lawrence Chellan, but I
when
played
he was at Durban City?
no. I played with Lawrence Chellan in the Natal Currie Cup side
Okay.
and the South African select side.
What was he like?
What a player! What a player! I had moved on when he came to Durban City, and I had moved on from Bushbucks when he went to Bushbucks. So because of the slight age gap, Lawrence was possibly about 5 years my junior,
Yeah.
but he could have played anywhere in the world.
Yeah, he was amazing.
He was so good.
Gone
And
too
I have
young.
recollections
Rest his soul.
of playing in the Natal Currie Cup side in Johannesburg, and Lawrence was the go-to winner. Get the ball to Lawrence. Lawrence will just do some magic for you. And what a player.
As a professional, how much were you getting paid? Professional in those days. What were you getting paid?
I started out earning 45 Rand a month as a semi-professional, plus bonuses. Now, to my recollection in those days, the bonuses were 45 Rand for a win, 25 for a draw, and nothing for a loss. The first year, I stayed on that salary. Then I got an increase to 65 Rand a month.
Were you one of the highest paid players?
At that stage, that was pretty much what a South African
Average.
earned at Durban
Yeah.
City. I stayed on around about 100 Rand a month for probably 2-3 years. And every time I went to Norman Elliott to say, Norman, I need an increase. You know, I'm one of your longest serving players. Yeah, son, just wait. As soon as I sell this guy and as soon as I sell that guy, I'll increase your wages and I'll give you another signing on fee. I did, however, earn quite a good signing on fee in those days of 1,500 Rand, which was a lot of money for a 16-year-old boy, to sign as semi-professional. I never ever received another signing on fee, in other words a new contract, other than an increase of the wages. And that led me to actually leave Durban City
After
against
10
my
years.
wishes after 10 years.
Tell us a story about Norman. Norman Elliott.
Norman was the most shrewdest administrator you would ever come across. He could organize, he could manipulate, he could scout. There wasn't a thing Norman couldn't do. Top honors. He was brilliant, but he was so shrewd that you know, when I look back and I can laugh about it, how he could almost be in tears telling you a story about why he can't give you an increase now. That it would make you so sympathetic.
You'd buy it every time.
Yeah, you'd buy it and you would walk out of there thinking, shame, man, poor guy.
Yeah. Let me carry on playing.
Yeah.
Are there any other players like from that era that when you guys went away and to play in Joburg and Cape Town, did you stay over?
Joburg, we would stay over.
Did you have a roommate, like a regular roommate, or?
At that time, I used to room quite a lot with Bobby Cook, but it was never a given thing as such. Quite a lot of the times, Budgie used to just say, okay, so-and-so and so-and-so, you're in room number 5. So-and-so, you're in room this. But I used to room a lot with Bobby Cook.
Okay. I'm looking at a picture here from 1978. If I can just read a couple of names. Mark Tovey.
Mark and I were the centre halves.
Mark did the sweeping behind you.
Mark was a reader of a game. Brilliant.
I can't understand how anyone could get past you guys, because the lineup that you guys had was such a strong lineup.
Yeah.
Brian Balfour, God rest his soul.
Good player. Great left foot.
Billy Tate as
Billy
well.
Tate, yeah.
Gone too early.
Oh.
Neil Roberts.
Neil to this day is still a personal friend of mine. We're in contact. But what a player. What a target man. Great goal scorer.
Yes.
But a target man par excellence. He would lay those balls on.
Of course, he's very tall as well.
Yeah, he would lay the balls on for Ian Bender.
Trevor Poole.
Trevor, fast, quick down the right-hand side.
Ex-Grosvenor boy, did he go to Grosvenor?
And if I can say so, on camera, Enzo, you and him remind me of a pigeon pair.
Thank you, Brummie.
Very similar style.
Appreciate it.
As good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We actually played in the same under-13 school Natal team.
Oh, okay.
He played on the right and I played on the left.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
But thank you.
Later on, you became a right winger.
Yeah. Cliffy Crouch.
Crouchy, good central midfield player.
Moffat Zuma.
Moffat, yeah, he was one of the first black players ever to play for, he was in fact the first for Durban City. A wonderful guy. No airs and graces, a guy that in the apartheid era came to us, and he could get along with everybody, and he fitted like a glove.
He was a good goal scorer, wasn't he?
Good goal scorer, yes.
Brian Pomeroy,
great fullback.
Rodney Kitchen
is the best left fullback I have ever seen.
So I'm looking at this picture now. There's you, there's Mark, okay? There's Brian, there's Rodney, okay? Is that your back four?
That was the back four.
That was your back four? Okay.
No, but Brian Pomeroy used to share
Bobby Cook, where did Bobby Cook play?
In the middle of the midfield.
Okay.
Brian Pomeroy used to share a lot with Chicken Price.
Okay. Yeah, Chicken is also in the photograph here.
Because quite often, depending on who we were playing against, Bill Williams would use Brian Pomeroy as the fullback and use Chicken as a marauding right-hand winger, midfield winger going forward.
Ian Philby.
Good player.
Ian Bender. When I played against Ian Bender, I got to say, was one of the hardest strikers to mark, because he was never much taller than a midfielder, but yet could jump above a tall centre half. He had the ability to hang, pretty much like Cristiano Ronaldo is today. Ian would hang and win a header. He was dynamic.
And also quick. He had jet shoes over 10
Scored
metres.
a lot of goals too.
Yeah, a lot of goals.
Basil Hollister.
Basil, great personal friend. What a wonderful right winger.
Very skillful, elegant.
Yeah, elegant. He could play, like you said, it was a stage in your junior career, where you played down the left-hand side. Basil could fill in down the left-hand side, coming inside the right.
Yeah, and Chicken Price, you mentioned already, Bobby Cook and Robbie Adams.
Robbie Adams, yeah.
Just a couple of players also from your African Wanderers days. The African Wanderers days, Brummie. Just randomly, Joel Nkabinde.
One of the best midfielders I've ever played with or had in the team. What a player he was. Yeah, he had so much skill. He had ability to float past players and score goals out of midfield.
Craig Sanders, was he your centre-back pairing? Did he play centre-back with you, or was he a full-back?
The first year, and then Craig moved on.
Okay. Reggie Shilembe?
Reggie was a good right full-back.
Biza Dlamini?
Biza was at that stage was actually a player coach. He had a great career with Chiefs and came back to African Wanderers. Good player down the right-hand side.
Chiza Baptist?
Oh, what skill. Cheeser Baptist, I used to actually pick Cheeser Baptist up from Wentworth to take him to training. We trained in Jimmy Bellows Park, Westville, with that squad, and drop him off after training. And what a player. But I went away one year when the season was over. It was probably a week or two after the season had closed, and I was up in the Berg with my wife and I think at that stage I only had one boy then. The other one was a little in nappies, Warren. Wesley was about 3 years old, and we were up at Drakensberg Gardens, and I got a call from Chicken Price to say that he'd heard that Cheeser Baptist had been struck down with cancer. And I said, but 2 weeks ago I still dropped him off, at the end of the season. He said, yeah. All the while, when I used to take him home from training for at least a month prior to that, he used to tell me, I'm sore, hey coach, you hurt me, you drove me in training, and my kidneys here.
Yeah.
And it turned out he had cancer.
Sure.
And I actually cut short my holiday by 3-4 days to come back and see him. He was actually bedridden in Addington Hospital, and that's where he died.
He passed away.
Yeah, 3-4 days later.
That's very sad.
But what a player.
Did he play in the midfield?
He played left-hand side of the midfield going forward. What a great left foot. Super guy. Great family. He also, his brother was a good player too, Gregory Baptist.
Okay.
Yeah. Good boy.
Brummie, a final word on your Ramblers. Let's call them teammates.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recognise these guys here?
Yeah, that's Tony Bruce.
Tony Bruce.
Him and I played centre half together.
You've got Grant Croshaw.
Grant Croshaw had
Sean
so
Barnard.
much skill. Sean Barnard, what a player.
Trevor Cheslett.
Trevor Chellan. He was.
Trevor Chellan, sorry.
He, at that stage, was actually player coach.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's Bobby Carr.
Bobby Carr, yes.
He was the chairman
He was
at
the chairman
time.
of the club,
Okay.
yes.
So yeah, wonderful career, Brummie.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for taking the time to come and chat.
Pleasure, Enzo. Thank you for inviting me.
It's a pleasure. I have to apologize for the lighting and the noise in between.
Not at all, not at all.
Thank you very much. I really do appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Enzo. Thanks, Enzo. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been special.
Great.